This is the most expensive dish in the world, but everyone can only eat it once in their lifetime. Just as the guests waited eagerly for the food to be served, the waiter brought out nothing but an empty plate. Then the chef walked over and shot himself in the head. The sight terrified the guests, but the other chef simply stood still in silence for 3 seconds, then wrapped the body in white cloth and carried it into the kitchen. Within 15 minutes, plates of delicious-smelling veal steaks were brought out. At that moment, the head chef revealed the truth. The ingredients for this feast were themselves. Everyone trembled in fear. One wealthy guest tried to get up and leave, but the manager stopped him and told everyone that no one would be leaving the island tonight. He immediately chopped off the man's finger. Some guests couldn't take it anymore and grabbed chairs to smash the windows, but they wouldn't break. Seeing that everyone wanted to resist, the chef slowly walked up to a rich guest. This man was a regular, having dined there 11 times in the past 5 years. The chef told him he could leave, but only if he could name one dish he had eaten there in all that time. Such a simple question, yet the man froze, unable to answer. Moments later, he was strapped with wings and hung up in the air. Just as everyone was falling into despair, the chef suddenly proposed a game. He called everyone outside and announced that the men would have 45 seconds to run. The moment he finished speaking, a coward dashed into the woods, and soon the rest were running for their lives. But as soon as the 45 seconds were up, the chefs began chasing them down. At first, the guests thought they had a chance, but they underestimated the chef's strength and speed. In less than 10 minutes, every single guest was captured again. The chef then walked slowly toward Anna's boyfriend, Jack. He had already noticed that Anna wasn't on the invitation list. Jack had stolen his ex-girlfriend's name. When Anna found out Jack had planned to use her as a victim, she lashed out and beat him in rage. Soon after, the chef dragged Jack into the kitchen and forced him to cook a dish. Jack made lamb chops, but they were awful. The chef whispered something in his ear, then sent him to the back of the kitchen. He announced that the next course would be the final dish, but they needed a steel bucket, so he asked Anna to fetch one from his house. But just as Anna was about to leave, she saw Jack had hanged himself. Clearly, this was the punishment the chef had set for him. Anna continued into the chef's room and discovered a radio transmitter. She quickly called for help, then calmly rolled the bucket back to the dining hall. At that point, the chef didn't suspect anything, but soon sirens were heard outside. The chef ordered the staff to clean up the scene and tidy the guest's appearance. Sure enough, a police officer soon entered the dining hall. He asked who had called for help on the radio, but no guest dared to speak. Only the chef explained that everyone was simply enjoying dinner. The officer looked puzzled, but then he noticed that one of the guests was a famous movie star he admired. Excited, he asked for an autograph. The star couldn't refuse, but when the officer looked at the paper, he saw it was a cry for help. He immediately pointed his gun at the chef and ordered him to surrender. The guests were thrilled, all at once accusing the chef of trapping them there and begging the officer to save them. But the very next second, the officer turned his gun toward a candle on Anna's table and pulled the trigger, lighting it with a shot. He then happily pocketed the lighter and casually strolled into the kitchen. It was only then that everyone realized the policeman was just part of the chef's performance. Now the guests were plunged into total despair, but Anna was still not ready to die. She suddenly remembered the photos hanging in the chef's house, pictures of him after he had become famous, always with a stiff expression. The only photo where he actually smiled was the one where he, as an apprentice, had made a cheeseburger. That gave Anna an idea.